On a late night in Birmingham, Alabama, Lieutenant Colonel Monica Carter, a military veteran, was driving home after a long day. Not in uniform, just a black sweater and jeans. She relaxed in her car when suddenly, the red and blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror. Monica didn't feel fear, only exhaustion. She sighed and pulled over, preparing for what seemed like a routine check. However, she didn't expect Officer Mark Johnson, who approached her car, to have such a disrespectful attitude. Officer Johnson, with his self-assured and arrogant demeanor, demanded Monica's vehicle papers without providing an explanation for the stop. When Monica asked if she had committed an offense, he mentioned a faulty taillight without any clear evidence. When Monica explained that her taillight had been checked recently and could be fixed, Officer Johnson became irate, ordering her out of the car without reason. Though Monica didn't want to argue, she remained calm and asked him to explain why. As a veteran who had undergone extensive training, Monica knew her rights and wasn't about to let anyone, especially an officer, abuse their power. She wasn't someone to be intimidated and was determined to stand up for her rights in the face of Officer Johnson's abuse of authority. Officer Johnson paid no attention to explaining why she needed to exit the car. He simply ordered her out with a stern tone, not giving her any opportunity to respond. Yet, Monica stood her ground. She understood that this wasn't a typical situation, and although she didn't want to escalate things, she wasn't afraid. She calmly opened the door and stepped out of the car, keeping her hands visible, showing no signs of fear. With firm steps, she stood tall and confident, faced with Monica's composure and confidence. Officer Johnson felt a twinge of discomfort. He slowly moved closer, ordering her to place her hands on the car for a search. Monica looked at him calmly, her voice steady but full of subtle challenge. "Do I look like someone carrying a weapon?" Officer Johnson looked at Monica but saw no fear in her, which made him feel helpless. Monica was not someone easily subdued, and she knew her rights when confronted with any infringement by a police officer. Monica's refusal to back down made Officer Johnson push the situation further, asserting his authority. However, Monica's every move exuded calm and resilience. She didn't resist but refused to let herself be disrespected or mistreated. As the confrontation escalated, Monica used her intellect and patience, standing firm without adding fuel to the fire. In that moment, she knew that her actions would not only confront Officer Johnson but also contribute to the larger fight for justice and respect. As Officer Johnson began the search, Monica remained unshaken. She could feel his attempt to force her into an uncomfortable position. But she didn't flinch. Her self-control was evident as she stood tall, unyielding and resolute. When he hastily grabbed her wrist, she calmly avoided unnecessary contact, not allowing herself to be manipulated. Each action she took had a clear purpose, protecting her rights and asserting that she would not be easily intimidated. During this moment, Officer Johnson began to realize his failure. He looked at Monica, confused, realizing she wasn't like the others he had faced before. The more he tried to control her, the more her silence acted as a powerful challenge, shaking his earlier confidence. Monica wasn't just physically standing her ground, she was mentally and emotionally engaging in a battle of rights and power, one that she knew she was winning. For the first time in his career, Officer Johnson realized that not everyone feared his badge. Monica didn't need protection from anyone but herself and her knowledge of her rights. When she locked eyes with him, her gaze was not one of fear but of determination and faith in justice. This wasn't just a personal situation, it was a statement of rights for all women, all people of color, and anyone oppressed in society. Monica continued to stand her ground, unaffected by the tension around her. She noticed that those in power, like Officer Johnson, often believed they could impose their will on others without facing consequences. However, Monica was not just a victim to be intimidated. She was someone who understood her rights and knew how to protect herself in any situation. When Officer Johnson ordered her into the patrol car, Monica didn't let his threats make her panic. She walked with confidence, yet remained vigilant. As she sat in the car, she felt the weight of the ongoing battle in her mind. Though it was just a routine traffic stop, she knew this was a fight for justice, for her own freedom, and for the freedom of people like her. As she sat quietly in the car, Monica didn't feel alone. She knew she wasn't facing this situation by herself. She thought of the people in her community, those who had faced discrimination and injustice. And she understood that this battle was for them. For all those who couldn't speak up. Every moment of silence in the car was a step toward justice. When Officer Johnson returned, Monica knew that this was the moment not only to fight for herself but to send a powerful message about equality and fairness. She didn't back down. As he continued to challenge her, Monica simply said that she knew her rights and would not yield. Deep inside, she understood that victory wasn't just about defending herself, it was about standing up against the injustices that many others faced every day. The next morning, Monica woke up with a renewed sense of strength, ready to face new challenges. She knew that the battle from the night before was just the beginning. Throughout the day, news about her incident spread, becoming a topic of discussion in the community and on the media. She hadn't expected this attention, but Monica understood that this was an opportunity for real change, not only for herself but for all those who had suffered from similar injustices. After a call with her lawyer, Monica decided she wouldn't stay silent. She was about to attend a meeting with officials and organizations to discuss these issues. She knew she couldn't just wait for change to happen, for the actions of Officer Johnson and those like him to stop. She had to speak up, push forward the fight for justice. But she also knew this would be a tough road, one not always easy to walk. In the following days, Monica received support from many people who understood and shared her struggles. She began meeting with community leaders, joining discussions and events to raise awareness about discrimination and the need for police reform. She was not just participating as a victim but as a leader. Someone on a mission to change a system that had been broken for far too long. Eventually, Monica realized that this fight was not just a personal battle. She became the voice for millions. For those who had to endure daily injustices without a voice, she became a symbol of resilience, of the power to stand up against discrimination and the flaws in the system. Every step, every meeting, every word spoken was part of the small revolution she was weaving. A revolution she believed would bring about real change. Monica soon learned, did not come easily. She faced pushback from institutions too deeply rooted in tradition, from individuals who saw her defiance as a threat, not as progress. There were days she came home with shoulders heavy with doubt, her inbox flooded with hate, her name misrepresented by media outlets who couldn't grasp the weight of what she was trying to do. Yet even in those moments of fatigue and despair, she reminded herself, this is bigger than me. This is for the ones still silenced. Monica began traveling, speaking at schools, universities, town halls, anywhere people were willing to listen. She shared her story not as a victim, but as a catalyst. Her words became fire, sometimes uncomfortable, often challenging, but always necessary, and people began to respond. Letters poured in, students, mothers, teachers, even former police officers, thanking her for giving them courage, for validating their pain, for awakening something long dormant inside. One day, a young girl named Kiara approached Monica after a panel discussion. With teary eyes and a voice trembling with hope, Kiara said, "Before I heard you speak, I thought staying quiet was the only way to survive. But now, I think I want to be loud, too." Monica hugged her tightly, realizing in that moment that this was the real revolution, not in policy alone, but in hearts like Kiara's. Learning that their voice mattered, Monica's advocacy began to change more than minds, it began to change laws. Through relentless persistence, she worked with civil rights organizations to draft new proposals for transparency in policing, anti-bias training in schools, and public accountability in workplaces. Though progress was slow, she celebrated every small win like a victory in a larger war. Because for the people she fought for, every inch mattered. Behind closed doors, Monica sometimes cried. The weight of injustice, the loneliness of leadership, it all took its toll. But she never let the public see her break. Instead, she poured that pain into her speeches, her writings, her art. She turned sorrow into strength, and fear into fire. What Monica didn't expect, however, was how her courage would ripple across generations. A decade after her movement began, schools would include her case in history lessons. Documentaries would be made. Girls and boys of every background would write her name in essays as someone who changed the world, not by shouting the loudest, but by refusing to be silenced. In the end, Monica never claimed to be a hero. She always said she was just someone who got tired of watching the world hurt people like her and decided to do something about it. But to the millions who found their courage because she found hers first, Monica was more than a leader. She was a mirror, showing the world not what it was, but what it could be. And that, she believed, was a revolution worth fighting for.